Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you could choose one person to haunt you for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Can I qualify the question?
Okay.
Okay, so for haunting, are they like, they're trying to freak me out all the time? Or they're just around me all the time?
It's stages of haunting. So the first stage of haunting is they're trying to freak you out, but eventually they get to the point where they get very comfortable with you. So they start being around when you're in the toilet, when you're with family.
They're just around.
Just around.
They're just around. They're like, I almost want like, do I want like a best mate? Or do I want someone...
You can take what you want. You can take a best mate, you can take a sexy woman, you could like, it could be whatever it is you want from that haunting relationship.
Okay, so the answer is actually...
And why? I want to know the answer, then I want to know why.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the why and then the answer.
Oh.
So I want someone to narrate my life as I go. And the person haunting me will be narrating my life.
They have to be dead, by the way, already, currently dead.
Oh, they have to be currently dead?
Currently dead.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say...
Morgan Freeman.
No, I actually wasn't going to say Morgan Freeman. I was just going to say Stephen Fry. Because I think that'd be a really good narrator of my life.
Would probably be
that would be really, really good.
Yeah.
But if it's currently dead, then I'd say the comedian Sean Locke. He's a really funny guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he's really, really funny.
Is that the guy that does the like one-liners? No, that's who's that guy?
I don't know.
The guy that Rogan loves.
Oh, that Rogan loves.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you know that guy?
I know exactly what you're talking. I don't think he was that good, to be honest.
Snap.
Rogan thinks he's hilarious.
Rogan like literally killed for that man.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Mitch Hedfield.
Mitch Hedfield.
That's his name.
Yes, that's literally his name.
I don't think he's that funny.
Med.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, that's R.I.P.
But Sean Locke is a British comedian. He's very funny. So
British comedian?
Yeah, I'd want him to narrate my life. Yeah.
Strange one.
When he died, it was one of those few... Sorry, we can start the podcast. But it was one of those few celebrity deaths that when he died, I was like, I felt that one. I was like, oh, man.
That's so weird because no one knows him.
It's like me and his mom and his wife.
Literally.
Like the only ones. No, but I think if you asked a British person, you would know. You would know.
Can I say something that's a controversial opinion, potentially?
Yes.
I don't find British people funny.
Really? That's so crazy.
I know.
Why don't you think they're funny?
I just don't find their humor just doesn't. It doesn't translate to me.
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Do you know why? I actually know this psychologically.
I think I know what. Okay, tell me, and I'll tell you why I think so.
Because I remember when I came to dinner at your house.
Yeah.
You always said that please don't make self-deprecating jokes or jokes about me. You don't find yourself that funny.
No, shut up. Shut your stupid little Nick mouth. Why I...
And British humor is all about self-deprecation.
No,
so
you're
don't
wrong.
Like it.
Let me tell you why. Why I told you that is because of this. I'll tell you a really short story.
Yes.
I had a very good friend of mine, a Congolese guy, great guy, handsome as fuck. He was a model.
Yes.
Many years, good vibes. He came to my house for dinner once. I won't say his name. I don't want to embarrass him. He came to my house for dinner once, and basically all he did was berate me for an hour and 30 minutes. By the time the dinner was over, my mother hated him.
Oh, really?
Because you have to know, my mother thinks I should ice cream.
Yes.
Quite literally. My mom thinks the sun shines.
And you do?
I mean, on an occasion.
Tastes good.
On occasion. And she was really upset about this guy. She was like, why would he come over and just say all these really drastic things about you? So ever since then, I've been like, cool. My friends can't come over who I have banter with and just say really wild things because my mother's going to be like, he can never come back here.
Okay. Why don't you think British people are funny then?
So I think I grew up primarily with American media, and American media is the thing I've always kind of like latched onto for the better part of my adult life, and as a result of that, that's the kind of humor I find funny, and I think weirdly enough, I think it's really one of the two.
Yeah,
like I find that people are like, I either like British comedy or I like American. They never really like both.
I'm a bit of both.
Are you a bit of both?
I grew up on Blackadder. Do you know Blackadder?
No.
Blackadder is like a TV show from the UK.
Isn't that like a Harry Potter character?
No, no. But I'm trying to think what you're trying to say.
Blackadder.
Blackadder.
There's a.
Oh, is there a no? Maybe something similar. But there was a TV show and it went to like anyway. I won't go through this, but there was like super British humor. It was like Fawlty Towers and then Blackadder.
Aha.
So then I always liked British humor. But then also I think like the goats are like all the cancelled people. Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K.
Mind your goddamn business.
So we talk about now. Mm-hmm. What would you think were the first initial challenges you faced? And what were the moments where you're like, I don't know if I can push on?
I'm going to talk about my first year because I guess that's the most pinnacle, or I guess that's like the cauldron of the business, right? It's like the hot pot, the first year. If you can get through the first year, geez, you got something.
What year are we in? Take us back.
Good point. That's 2017. Young Evander. 2017.
Wow.
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Very hopeful about what we could do and create. Honestly speaking, I know this is going to sound like a weird, kind of unrealistic combo, but one of the hardest things about starting a business that I found is, so in all things in life, everything is transient. And what that means is things go up and things go down. So you have really great times with something at work, a job, whatever, and then you have really low times where it's like, oh no, it's terrible times. Things being transient keeps you engaged in a weird way. If things are really low, you're really to be focused because you're like, you're focused on things being low, but you're focused on that thing being low. If things are really high, same thing. You focus on that thing and that thing being really high. With a business, you have a lull very often. You have points in a business where nothing is up and nothing is down. It just is. That is the hardest point to navigate.
Wow.
Because essentially what sits in there is what humans disdain more than anything else, which is boredom. Humans hate boredom.
So you say humans would rather deal with the
absolute shit bits
than deal with the
highs,
plateau.
than deal with the plateaus and the stagnant of the everyday. Humans can't stand it. And that's why we watch film. That's why we listen to good music. That's why we get into toxic relationships. No, it is.
Yeah.
Like Sigmund Freud says, we're chasing our demise. Humans are always perpetually chasing our demise. That's why we have, unprotected sex. That's why we smoke cigarettes. That's why we do drugs. That's why we drink alcohol. We're always chasing our ultimate demise because it gives us a sense of purpose, a sense of I'm alive. So the lull is the antithesis of that. The lull is just another day. And the lull is what makes people go, is it really worth it? Do I really have something? Probably not. I think I'm going to take a bow. I'm going to bow out of this one. So that was probably the hardest part. That
whole thing is the soliloquy was phenomenal, by the way. That was brilliant. That's a reel. Sorry, director. Just clip that.
Clip that shit.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
But that's super interesting. And where did you find the lull came in? Where were you in your journey?
Yeah. So the lull of at least my experience, the lull came in between the point of validating the idea or the product, which it often does. That period between that and actually having or making material inroads into the development of the product, right? So I validated the product. Oh, I'm on a high because people like the product, or at least people like the idea that I'm pitching. So the surveying, etc., getting good results from there. And then there's a lull, and often quite a long lull between that and like, okay, now people like this thing that I've come up with. How do I make it a reality? How do I bring it to life? It's exciting in a sense, but it's also a lot of to do with nothing. So it's kind of like, okay, let's meet on this day to discuss this idea. Oh, okay, put this in the diary and do some research on like what it is. So there's no pitch to a big funder or investor or
I think they get the adrenaline pumping.
Exactly. It's just, what do you think of this? Well, I like this idea. It's like texts, like mundane, everyday stuff that I think creates the idea that you're not doing anything real. And again, that is the absolute king killer.
Is it like an anxiety that this is just going to fizzle out and not continue, or is it just more of like a kind of things are too relaxed? I'm trying to work it out. Is it like...
No, I don't think it's anxiety things aren't going to continue. I think the answer to that is, it's the idea that in yourself, you're not doing anything important because nothing is moving up or down. You're not having any super highs or any super lows. And as a result of that, you don't feel compelled to stick to something that is nothing. So you're just like, okay, I haven't spoken to my partner in like 2-3 days. Oh, well, nothing's really happening. Then 2-3 days becomes 4 days, and a week, then a week becomes a month, and a month becomes 2, and then all of a sudden the idea ceases to exist. I think that's often the absolute king killer when it comes to good ideas.
Sure.
What do you think?
Makes sense. What do I think of what?
So it's. I was not listening when you were speaking.
No. I listened very intently, but yeah, no. But what on that journey?
No, the hardest part of, I think, staying on the track.
I think the hardest part is how do you keep focus and how do you to make sure, because it's a constant grind, right? And I think that's what you were kind of talking about it now as well. Marks and challenges. We're marked up, by the way, guys.
Guys, by the way, if you're listening to this, we're drinking our margaritas right now.
It's national.
I'm a little turned. I don't know, Nick. I feel like Nick has way better tolerance than I do. I started drinking when I turned 22 years old. Nick started drinking when he turned 2.
I'm also Irish.
Exactly.
I was genetically predisposed to be drinking.
Alcoholism.
But yeah, absolutely. So, but I think the challenge was like, how do you keep going? And I think we've spoken about in previous podcasts where it's so great to have like 2 engines, you know. So like, as soon as like with my co-founder, he pushes me when I'm not pushing, and vice versa, and how we go. Probably, you know, one of the biggest challenges is working out where we were on the rungs of fundraising and bringing in money. Because I think when we started out, we worked out a pretty successful model of how we raise money for our charities, right? So we had this idea of, we've got the events, we do the events, we bring in a few £1,000 at this event, a few £1,000 at that event, and that provides, especially from pound to rand, like a good steady,
I can imagine,
you know, stream of income coming through for those 2 charities. But a big push was, how do we get monthly donors? That's a really big one, because we have a constant flow of cash. That means we can provide stationery, we can start providing food on a regular basis, which would be really, really big, because we've got these big projects that we're trying to enact, you know, like building the classroom, paying for rugby festivals. I want to build a field, like within the next 2 years. I want to build a stadium. I want to build a clubhouse.
You build a field or do you grow a field?
You do a bit of both. I think you just mow grass.
Yeah,
I think that's what
what happens.
But you have to make it flat at some stage, I'd imagine, you know. But there's like I want to be doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with what we bring in, you know.
Yeah.
And then if I speak to other charities, other NGOs, other CICs that are doing similar stuff to us, and I think we're doing quite a good job.
I think you
are. And well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But then I'll speak to them and I'll be like, oh, how much did you bring in? And I'll be like, I brought in 250,000 rand last year. And
you said that?
That's what I said. 250,000.
That's very impressive.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. But then, and they'll be like, it's like, oh wow, that's great, Nick. That's so well done. You know, it's like, and how much did your charity bring? It's like 70 million. And I'll be like,
what?
Oh, okay. So like we small fry, you know.
Yeah.
So even where our ceiling is low, we need to be pushing it way up.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, structures are wrong.
Hold on. I mean, that's quite a fucking drastic take.
Do you think so?
I'm not earning what the 70 million guy is earning, who's been doing this for probably far longer than I have.
Sure.
So my whole base is wrong.
No, not that the structure is wrong. The structure is actually right, you know, because we bring in enough.
Wow,
you know,
flip-flopped so quickly.
No, but
you're so weak. Your backbone is made of jelly.
It's the margs that have fixed it. But it's not that. But for where we are now, it's right. You know, it's right to bring in that level of money.
Yeah.
But if you want to be bringing in like 70 million rand, things have to change, and we have to work out how we do. So that was quite a big thing in terms of how do we restructure? How do I I go to my co-founder, and then now we say, how do we bring in more money?
Yeah.
And that takes a change on how we.
Of course.
Yeah.
But would you so I guess that impacts the potential kind of excitement to carry on going, to the likelihood that you may not be able to bring in more money and etc. But what would you say? I think a lot of people are interested in this because it matters, right? What would you say is the one kind of failure that you guys were like, you know what? Wrap it up. I've had enough.
Let's pack it in.
Let's pack it in. Because I would say, just before you preface it, I would say that starting a business, you haven't truly started a business until you hate everything and everyone, because very often any business you're kind of going, I'm consistently embarrassing myself because I'm always asking people for things. There's
feel
so
that.
much shame involved with, looking up, because that's what being at the bottom is, right? When you're starting a business, I always have to look up. Okay, who can help me with money? Okay, who can help me with share this? Please share this post on Instagram. Please like this.
Like and comment. Yeah.
Like there's so much shame associated with that, and someone who's not starting a business very often goes like, "Why are you making me like and like? I don't care. Like, do your thing. Like who." But it means so much to you as a business owner, because you're like, every like and comment means I can, I look better, and adds to my law.
Helps
and
the algorithm pushes us forward.
Exactly. So
Sure.
there's so much shame associated with it that any failure that comes your way, you're kind of like, you know what? It's been real. Wrap it up. I'm out.
Yeah.
So in light of that, like, what do you think your failures have been that you've been like, you know what? I don't think I'm made for this.
So probably the biggest one was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So we'd obviously gone out, we've got logos, we've told everyone we're doing this.
The logos change everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
People know it's official now.
Yeah.
We've reached out to charities, with the charities know we're raising money for them. It's like a whole thing. They go, but we couldn't get our CIC status. We couldn't get our community interest company status.
Okay.
We applied.
What is that?
So essentially, the structure of what we do is a CIC. So we're a community interest company.
Okay.
So essentially, it makes us a non-profit organization.
Got it.
That's kind of what it is.
CIC.
Yeah. So CIC. So we to get moving and to get everything started, we had to register as a CIC. And then once you're a CIC, then you can transform to a charity, which is what we're going to do now, which is phenomenal and creates a whole new.
How long does it take?
Avenues. It's not about length. It's about like the work you put in.
Interesting.
So where we were, everyone knew it was happening. We knew we wanted to do this. We were super excited about creating the CIC, about Get Your Collective. And then we applied, and then we got rejected. And we applied, and we got rejected. And you have to pay money every time you do it. And they send you the money back. It's like 60 quid. But it's just like you put the money in, you wait, and then you get rejected again. And then that must have, by the 5th time of rejection, we were like, oh my word,
Yeah,
maybe
we're not cut out for this.
Maybe where are we going wrong from a bureaucratic sense, an administrational sense?
Imagine.
How are we doing this so wrong? And you're a lawyer, you understand, like going through contracts and understanding whatever.
Gruesome.
We're not that,
Yeah.
we have no idea what we're doing. And I think it took, a lot of perseverance from I would say, from me, but more my co-founder, because he pushed. He was like, no, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. We're doing this again. Look, eventually we got there, but it was a slog. It took
Maybe I
months.
should start this podcast with your co-founder.
Yeah, maybe.
Why are you here?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually.
Get the fuck out.
Absolutely. But it was a huge push. It took
No,
took a lot of to get to a situation where we did that.
Yeah.
What is yours?
Wow, I almost quit. Oh my God. I think they've honestly been so many points. I'd probably say the biggest point of us being like, oh God, this is so painful, was when we had our first kind of, the way our product works and the way most insurance products work is you have a product idea, you develop the product idea, and probably the most crucial element about creating the idea is distributing the product. How do you do that? So it's much like any product, a beverage, clothing, you have to figure out how to distribute that. Do you create a store? Do you do it online? Do you do it at pop-ups? Similar thing with insurance, but you figure out through, I guess, a more kind of service-oriented software type space. So you go through brokers or through a larger underwriter or through an embedded product.
It's like finding the avenue.
Finding the avenue to get your product into as many hands as possible, because you want to reach critical mass. Because critical mass essentially allows your book or your product to stay alive. Because you need the money coming in to be able to then pay out certain funds for your product to still be relevant. Now, the thing is, you're going through distributors and you have a niche, unique, different type of product. And very often they're like, what the hell is this thing? Makes no sense to me. I'm confused. And you do that enough, and eventually you start going, maybe I don't have anything. Maybe
this is a shit idea.
Maybe this was a fever dream, and I'm running on the basis of something that like isn't actually a good idea, and I'm just being like, oh, it must be a good idea because I came up with. And I need to reconsider whether or not this is something that I think I could continue doing. And as a team, dude, you come across that so many times. And I think the idea of that, and when you get to that point, the idea of being able to band together, like you said, such a good point. I think an underrated point is, again, choosing the right partners. A partner goes in ebbs and flows in that, and I said this before, sometimes when you may not be up, they are. And when you're down, or rather, when they're down, you're up. And you can give each other's energy that allows you to keep on going forward. And I honestly think that's what gave us the power and the stability to carry on going.
Do you think that's what it came down to? Just the fact that you had that team.
Nick, it always comes down to people.
Yeah.
I can't put it more simply. Like, no matter what you're doing in life.
Me dumb. So make it more simple.
In anything in life, if you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you get a good team together, I'm telling you, you will go as far as you all agree to go. Because teams is what makes life. My mom, when I was younger, my mom would always say to me, Nigerian woman, Evander, no man is an island. I'd be like, oh, what does that mean, Mom? That doesn't even make sense. What's an island? No one, As I got older, that started making so much sense because it became applicable in every scenario in my life, with the friends I chose, with the partner I chose, with the colleagues I chose, with the boss I chose, with the business I started. If you can get the right people around you, things become easier. Hard things become far easier.
And it's also that yin and yang, right? Mm-hmm. It's also that...
What does that mean? Don't just throw out words like yin and yang and then assume everyone knows what you're talking about.
just say that. Can we keep that in? What I was going to say is that where you're strong, I may be weak.
Yeah.
And where you're weak, I may be strong.
Yeah.
So there's certain parts of when you start things, like for example, when it came into bringing in a sponsor, Matthew had never dealt with sponsors before. He never worked in sponsorship. Whereas I've worked in sponsorship for like 6 years. Yeah. Exactly. So like I completely understood that when they were like, hey, guys, how are you going to activate our brand with what you're doing? I could give them a list. And when it came to digital marketing, I was like, but Matthew was like, oh, this is what you've been doing. So when it comes down to it, where you're weak, I'm strong, and vice versa.
Amen.
And I think that makes so much sense.
Oh man!
But I know you're saying the team is everything, and
it's everything.
Absolutely. But what is it in you that when you were facing these challenges, what inspired you to carry on? Is there something deep within your chest that let me push?
No,
you just want to be a billionaire, or what is it? Is that money?
Money. No. I've always wanted to create something. Besides a child, I've always wanted to create something.
Later we'll do that.
And baby,
I've talked to his mom.
I've always wanted to create something. I'm the stupid idiot that believes in legacy. Legacy is, as a lot of people are coming to find out, a myth, because in 2 generations, no one's ever going to know I existed. Yet here we are. People believe in legacy. Legacy is something that guides everyone's thoughts. Legacy is something that people kind of live for. But I've always wanted to leave something behind that I could put my name on and say, I created that.
I love that.
Do you feel that?
I absolutely...
What is that thing? Is that like a alpha thing?
Is it like a narcissistic thing?
Maybe.
I've got the same thing. For me, money doesn't really drive me.
No.
Obviously, I want money. Yeah, like I obviously want money, but like I also, for me, I want to be able to look back. Once we built that classroom in Umtata, I was like, I can die now. Like I've done something. I've put something concrete in the world.
In real.
Physical, pragmatic, tangible, that's got a roof over children's heads.
And by the way, people, this is coming from a guy who's got a whole town named after him. Google McGregor Town, South Africa. He's talking about real things being,
absolutely.
The town.
To be fair, I come from a family of industrialists. So I think that...
Industrialists? What's that?
Industrialists. Industrialists, English.
Yeah.
So industrialists.
Yeah, English.
But it's remember my theme for last year? My theme for 2024.
Oh, so good.
Right?
Can you please tell the people what your theme for 2024? Because I won't lie to you. You told me that theme, like we had a call or something. You told me that theme. I wanted to run through walls for you.
Dude.
When you told me that theme. I was like,
How
I
big
will
is that?
die for this guy.
Absolutely. So the theme was the Augustus year.
Oh my God.
So Augustus was the emperor, the first emperor of Rome, and he took over from Julius
That's
Caesar.
not true. He wasn't the first emperor of Rome.
Second emperor of Rome. Second emperor of
But
Rome.
you can't just make shit up and assume it's going to be fly.
Okay, sorry, second emperor of Rome. And so he takes over from Julius Caesar after Julius is murdered.
Yes.
He's like his
Ides of
adopted
March.
son, his nephew. Yeah. So then he takes over. He says, I found Rome a city of bricks. I turned it into a city of marble. And this is what I'm doing in my life in 2024.
I love that.
It's bricks.
And
I'll
you
make
are
it marble.
really. You really are.
I
By the way.
say again.
You really are. No, seriously, like, I've known you for a very long time. Actually, we should probably do like a genesis story of our friendship.
We should actually.
But I knew you on the, like, I met you when I think we were 15 or 16.
I think yeah.
On the hills of St. John's School in Johannesburg at a fireworks social. And you looked me in the eye and I looked you in the eye and we kissed. I'm kidding, we didn't kiss. We just gave each other.
I tried.
No, but we were chasing very, very different things back then. Girls. We were chasing
Yeah, we're
girls.
just chasing girls.
That's what we were chasing.
And that's what brought us together.
Literally,
That
we're like,
love of
I see
chasing-
you and you see
chasing
me.
girls, yes.
Kindred spirits.
I would like to kiss a girl on the mouth.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, literally.
That's what I want as well.
But no, you have, oh my God, your story, it needs a E-True Hollywood.
You think so?
I promise you.
I'll take that.
Seriously, your evolution as a man, as an individual, as a person has been quite drastic in a lot of ways.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You went from poor to poorer.
And now
And then
poorest.
poorer.
Just that I thought you were
Nothing
going
like
to
it.
say something nice about
No,
me.
I'm kidding. No, seriously, you've developed so much as an individual. I'm so proud to know you as a person.
Oh, Vanda,
And
I'm going to cry.
No, honestly, I really am. I'm proud to know you as a
That's really
person. I love you so much as just a human being.
Sure.
And to see like the things you're doing now, insane. I would never have guessed that. I thought you were gonna be like drunk under a bridge by the time you. I'm kidding.
Just a coke addict. You know what? I could say a very different thing about you.
What is it?
Because I would say that I think you were always born to be successful.
Wow.
And it pains me to say it because I hate you. No, I'm kidding. I love you very much, and I always have loved you since we were so young.
Yeah.
But I think you were someone. So we talk about bricks to marble.
Yeah.
You were always chipping away at that marble.
Yeah.
And I think you found yourself in a position now
Oh,
where
man.
your life is marble, but it's only going to get better.
Amen.
It's going to be gold, platinum.
I love that.
So we've gone through these challenges. We've spoken about these challenges
Yes.
we've had, but I think we found ourselves, not that we perfect.
No.
We're obviously still growing. And we're still learning.
Work in progress.
We're just two idiots trying to
Figure it
find our
out.
way through life.
Yeah.
But it's far more marble than it was bricks.
I fully agree. Fuck, it's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I mean, we've got to shut it down. But honestly, if you want to see the rest of this podcast, go to our OnlyFans. We're going to wrap it up there. But it's been great talking to you guys. Bada bing, bada bong. See
Follow
you on
us,
the next one.
Like and comment
Yeah.
and follow and subscribe
And all the things.
press the bell and
Mwah.
all of that.
Love ya.
Bye bye. Yay.
Margaritas afloat.